There we go. YouTube taking its sweet time.
Like always.
All right, I think we are in. Hey! Welcome
everybody.
to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 307, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Steve.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are right on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel, but an even better way to help support the channel is to go over to craftcomputing.store, grab yourself a pint glass, which is both designed and made right here in-house, literally 20 feet from me, and start drinking like a pro. Last but not least, if you want to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
Yep, and we do hang out there pretty much every day. We're there in some form.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
That's right.
So, it just so happens that this is the Halloween episode, so that's going to kind of be my excuse for what happens next. But I let my mouth do some talking on the Discords. Well, now I have to pay up because someone made good on my my challenge. So, here we go. Now it's a show.
Kitty ear Wednesday.
Yes. So, gosh, how did that even start? So I did my Antlion Audio pre-roll ad, where I put on this as just a joke, saying, stop making your teammates suffer with bad audio. And I used this as my reference headset, and put it on in the ad, and it was quite funny. And one of our fantastic Discord patrons said, how much to make you wear that for an entire episode and the after party? And I said, well, I've been really eyeing the small form factor Ada 4000 lately. So Yakto bought one. There's some terms and conditions that come with it, but long and short of it is my Xbox is going to get a significant upgrade, and I'll be installing that at PDX LAN here in a couple of weeks, and I get to wear some cat ears for today's episode. So here we are.
Yeah, there you are. Nice kitty.
I am not
soft kitty.
I am not using the Razer microphone, although I will have it there for show. I did do a test recording with this prior to this episode going live because I'm like, I might as well just use the mic. Man, was my ad ever accurate? This thing is hot garbage. It is.
They usually are.
It is awful. In fact, I'm going to give viewers a quick preview of it. Steve, you won't be able to hear this because
right.
Zoom.
Fine. I've heard it before.
Uses its own thing, but where is that one at? Okay, so now we are on the Razer microphone, and it is just awful. It is heavily compressed. It's distorted. It's somehow blown out and too quiet all at the same time. There's no pop filter on it, so every single word and pronunciation and enunciation just the whole time. I couldn't do that to you for even with Yakto's generosity. So we're going to be using my tried and true overhead mic tonight. So there you go. Okay. Jahoni says, just got my own Ada 4000 SFF. It's a delight. I have been hearing so many cool things about that card, and I cannot wait to run it through its paces. It is supposed to be the ultimate beast of a small form factor graphics card. Yeah, and Zachary, who is Yakto, says, luckily the agreement was to just wear the headset.
And not the full set costume with
yeah,
claws and everything.
Yeah, didn't have to go all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Razer, the best advertisement for RTX Voice. RTX Voice is enabled even through OBS through a plugin. It's on very low, but it still has some good amount of distortion that comes through even with RTX Voice on. Let me confirm that I have it on, but I'm fairly certain I do. Filters, noise suppression, Nvidia noise removal, and echo removal. Yeah, it's at 20%. So yes, on this audio channel, I do have RTX Voice enabled. So that was with RTX Voice. And it was still that bad. Now,
well, I mean, those mics are mainly made for like little kids screaming at you on Xbox or whatever. Anyway, so you know they have to find a way to make it sound more shrill when you're listening to it.
The problem is this is marketed towards. I mean, obviously the cat ears are going to have fairly mass appeal with some people, but this is an expensive headset. Let me verify what this is. $100, $110.
Wow.
It is not an inexpensive headset.
Yeah, and it's not even a wireless
headset either. I mean, it is just USB, which I do like.
Right.
It is 100% USB audio. But man, yeah. Yeah, not exactly the best advertisement for Razer's mic quality if you listened just a second ago. Cute Jeff is cute. Aw, thank you, Vincent. Dude, the SFF 4000 is 70 watts. Is it bus powered? Yes, it is.
Oh, wow, really?
It's insane. Yeah, it is.
Did you have it yet? Did you get it?
I have not received it yet. Okay. Per Yocto, it should arrive sometime on like next Wednesday. Maybe next Tuesday, rather than trying to get with Yocto, who is another state away. We're both going to PDX LAN on November 9th. We'll be there on Thursday through Sunday. Yes, we're just going to meet up there. I'm going to install the card in the Xbox at the LAN. It should be a lot of fun.
It's the modern version of we're going to exchange cards.
Yeah.
Not business cards, but like
right.
Exchange video cards.
Right.
You gotta do that. You gotta do the American Psycho where he puts down the card.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, that's so good. Yeah.
Nice.
That Shimmerford Edges is so beautiful.
Is it embossed? It's embossed. It's going to be a good show tonight, despite the cat ears. Let's see. We've got some Qualcomm and Nvidia ARM-powered Windows computer news to talk about. Apple backs a national right to repair bill, and some analysts are saying there might be motives behind that. Really? Who'd have guessed that? Fallout gets its official TV launch date, and Epic and Firestone both announce their barrel-aged lineup for the fourth quarter. Yes.
Yes, I know.
But first off, let's go ahead and get this show started. Steve, what are you cracking open tonight?
So today I got, well, first off, we all know and love Great Notion.
Oh, yes.
But what's something special about this one is it's fresh hop. It's a fresh hop Great Notion.
I love what the green screen is doing to the can.
Yes, I know. You see that?
That's amazing.
It is a green can.
It's literally going Harry Potter invisibility cloak on you.
It's kind of, you got the fresh hop, and then you got like that. It's like the Juice Jr.
Yeah.
He's like literally floating there.
That's so great.
And I also have from Barcidius Brewing, I got the Karma Citra double IPA.
Ooh, there you go.
So I've never had anything from Barcidius. I think fairly new.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of anxious to see how they are.
Yeah, they're out of it's not.
I want to say
Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Yeah, I would say it's just south of me. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've had one of theirs before.
I've been meaning to go to their brewery, but I just haven't made it out to Lebanon in a long time. So
yeah, no, I mean, why else would you go out to Lebanon? There's nothing else.
Exactly. I know. There's
but apparently there's a brewery. But no, they made an imperial stout that was quite good. I had it on the show maybe 3-4 months ago.
Okay.
So yeah.
So they just started distributing, I think, because they've been around for maybe 1 or 2 years, and I haven't been out there since they opened. But now that they're distributing, I don't have to drive to Lebanon.
Right.
I can try some of theirs without going there.
Yes. Let's see. This was I was waiting for this question. Wait, not questioning why Jeff has to wear the headset, but questioning why Jeff has the headset. That's a great question. It's actually my sister's. So my sister's renting a room for us from us for a little while, and happened to have a Razer Cat Ear headset. And I was looking for a headset to put into the Antlion ad, and none of mine I could find. All the microphones for all my headsets have like vanished. They're gone. And I'm like, well, if I'm doing an ad for a microphone, I can't exactly show off a headset that doesn't have a microphone. Like that's just weird. So I knocked on her door and, hey, do you happen to have a gaming headset? And she goes, here, I have this one. And I went, oh my God, you have no idea how perfect that is right now. And as it turns out, the microphone sucks too.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Let's see. John, Mr. Hops and Brews, posted a meme in the Discord a couple of minutes ago. Let me pull that up. I think it was earlier today. And I laughed quite a bit. Where was that at? There we go. I'll just pop it over the top of you.
Oh, yes.
Pumpkin beers in August? No. Christmas beers in October. Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Because I was at the store today and I bought not only a summer IPA in the Breakside Unicorns and Rainbows, I also got a winter IPA in the Terminal Gravity Festival Strong Winter Ale. So yeah, we're going a little bit of summer, a little bit of winter, right here smack dab in the middle.
We're skipping over the pumpkin beers, and we kind of talked about this. Like we both thought about getting a pumpkin beer. We're both like,
and then thought better of it.
Yeah, we thought better of it. I mean, I don't mind pumpkin beers every once in a while, but honestly, the best one I had was a barley wine pumpkin beer, and that was phenomenal. I wouldn't mind having that again, but that's a hard one to find.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the summer ale. Okay. From Breakside. We've got Rainbows and Unicorns.
All right. I'm going to start out with the Fresh Hop Juice Junior. Oh, and I also got myself. I'm eventually going to use the Craft Computing mug, but I also got a new skull mug that I can use for Halloween.
That's good. Let's see. What is this one clocking in at? Didn't even see the ABV on it. Sure, it's in there somewhere, but I can't find it.
Oh
well.
Yeah, this one's just a 6.0. It's nothing too huge.
I'm assuming that's about where this one is, considering how
Yeah.
Amazingly crystal clear this one is. All right, we do have a couple of beer shout-outs to get to. Let me scroll up here just a little bit, and then we'll get started. Let's see. Skullsies, starting off with a Lakefront Pumpkin Lager, speaking of pumpkin beers.
Pumpkin beers, there we go.
Andrew's got a Mountain Jam Volume 8 Hazy IPA from Roadhouse Brewing in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, 6.8%.
All right.
Never heard of that brewery. That's awesome.
Neither have I.
Harley's got a Hop Butcher Rip Rap American Pale Ale, 5.7%, with Nelson Sauvin and Eldorado hops.
That does sound like a good combo.
Yeah. Williams got a Burlington Beer Company Barista Double Coffee Porter, 7.3%. That sounds actually really good.
That sounds actually good. I was looking for like a good stout, but the liquor store didn't have anything good that I wanted. It had stuff that I've already had, so I was like,
I think we're still a couple of weeks away from the stout drops for the year.
We are. So. I mean, just reading their beer news just just made me want to get like a bourbon barrel aged stout.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go find one.
Yeah, no, I saw the Big Bad Baptiste barrel aged release, and I went, I need a thick stout tonight.
Yeah.
Couldn't find one that I hadn't had before, so I went, skip it.
Same thing with me.
Yep.
Same thing with me.
Novella's got a Toppling Goliath Radiant Haze IPA, 7%, and a 4.0 on Untapped from Decorah, Iowa, as seen on Talking Heads. Let's see. I thought I saw one or two more. Michael's got a Mad Tree Psychopathy. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. IPA, 6.9%. Nice.
Oh, and Reverend's sipping some pomegranate whimsy gin cordial. I guess.
Okay.
He's going non-beer today.
Whimsy gin cordial. I'll take a good cordial every once in a while.
Oh yeah, especially gin-based cordial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna suck that headphone in there. That way I can actually take a drink of my beer.
Well, that's actually not a bad feature. Mm-hmm. I kind of like that. Too bad that the microphone sucks.
Yeah, but it's not removable, but it is very much retractable. So
yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the news. Starting with Qualcomm made a huge announcement yesterday on a new line of Snapdragon ARM-based CPUs that they are calling the Snapdragon X Elite. And they are making some bold claims when it comes to these CPUs. Qualcomm is typically focused on very low wattage CPUs, like 1 to maybe 4 watts of power in their Snapdragon series that power your smartphones and augmented reality glasses and headsets and things like that. Some of their most powerful ones are in like the Oculus Quest. That's a Snapdragon powered headset. Mm-hmm. And devices like that. But those are still 7-10 watts maybe. Well, they are kind of throwing a hammer down and letting you know exactly where they want to stand when it comes to performance. The new Snapdragon Elite X can supposedly not only like match or maybe edge out, but straight up destroy mobile i9s and Apple's M2.
Wow. Some bold claims.
Right. And let's not leave AMD's 7940HS, 45 watt mobile CPU hanging either. Performance per watt is drastically lower. And actually they're claiming up to 80% faster GPU performance at the same ISO power levels. It's going to be really interesting when these come out because there are so many variables when it comes to running. And by the way, these are designed to run Windows on ARM. These are going to be laptop, maybe even desktop CPUs for low power consumption, but super high performance. It's going to be really interesting to see if Qualcomm has managed to do similar party tricks to Apple, in that Apple's ARM CPUs, their M1 and M2, are not native x86 CPUs.
No.
But they have one of the most efficient translation layers ever seen in hardware. Not a lot of people believed when the Apple M1 came out that it would be able to run x86 programs at native x86 speeds as compared to, Intel's 10th gen i9s and things like that.
Because of the translation layer that they thought was going to be there, yeah.
Right. ARM has always struggled when it came to general purpose compute. That is, hundreds of instruction sets and not necessarily refined or specific APIs that it was designed to utilize. x86, the beauty of it is it's a general purpose compute platform. You can throw any instruction at it and it'll just crunch its way through it. Now, obviously there are instruction sets for more specific applications. There's, AVX and SSE and all that kind of stuff. But it is a general purpose brute force platform to condense it down into as few words as possible. ARM has never done well at general purpose. Typically with ARM, there are very specific instruction sets that it has to run. Otherwise, it loses all optimization and flounders. When Apple came out with the M1, it kind of blew a lot of minds because here's an ARM CPU running x86 code off of an operating system designed to run x86 that was straight up beating the best of the best from Intel at half the power draw. So we've seen from Apple what happens when you do crank up the power and you give it some more instruction sets and you let it actually stretch its legs a little bit. But Apple's been the only one that seems that has the resources to do that. Is Qualcomm getting into that race?
And you kind of have to wonder how much of the Apple optimization is their software and their versus their hardware, and what Qualcomm can do for Windows without getting too much into the weeds. Could they make Windows run faster with lower power wattage? Who knows?
Right. Yeah, no, it's going to be really interesting to see. Most of these benchmarks that you're seeing are performed with Geekbench 6. Which does a multitude of tests, and it's designed to compare cross-platform applications. But is it comparing what your experience on Windows would be running x86 versus ARM hardware? Because while Geekbench can say, oh, let's compile the Chrome browser, that's one of the very common tests that it runs, is how quickly can it compile an open source stack for the Chrome browser. Is this compiling the ARM native Chrome, or is this compiling the x86 native Chrome? Is it running, HTML decode in x86 instruction sets or specific ARM instruction sets? Because most Windows software, 99% of Windows software is written and designed to run on x86 hardware. And software support is not something that's going to come quickly or easily unless there's adoption of platforms that kind of forces software developers to take a very close look at ARM. So the only way ARM will stay in this arms race is by being able to run not only ARM native code, but x86 native code, and beating the x86 platform while it's doing it. I'm really curious to know, are they running Geekbench on Windows with ARM native code or x86 native code applications?
Because they don't really say in the article.
They don't say in the article.
No.
And we know ARM definitely has some performance chops in very specific applications in its more mobile variants.
Right.
This higher powered variant, though, how high powered is it? And can it actually hang with the big boys outside of 2 or 3 specific tests inside an ARM-based platform? What's its 7-zip decompression? What happens when you throw an AVX workload at it? A video render project or something like that. Do the wheels fall off this cart? We'll find out in probably about 8 months or so. This should be out mid-2024.
Well, there's previews apparently coming out January 2024, probably for CES, which means if I don't know, you guys were planning on going this year, right?
I'm planning on going, yes.
So maybe try to get
I think we got to swing by Qualcomm's booth.
Yes, I think so too.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that'll be very, very interesting to see. Now, I don't think they're going to give you much hands-on and let you tinker around in the background, but to be able to see it in action would be kind of neat.
Yep. So specs on this are fairly impressive. So it's the architecture is the Qualcomm Orion CPU, 64-bit architecture, 12 cores up to 3.8 gigahertz, single and dual core burst up to 4.3. Its Adreno GPU is a 4.6 teraflop GPU and supports DirectX 12. I don't remember teraflop numbers for cards offhand. Let me see
what the teraflops is for, like a 4070 or something like that.
I'm going to look up the 780M.
Okay.
Which is AMD's current mobile variant or APU variant that it's shipping with, the 1X player and GPD Win 4 and products like that. Pretty much the best low power card that you can get right now.
It looks like 3.3.
30% faster than a 780M.
Doesn't sound right, but maybe.
Doesn't say. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. So Tech Power Up gives it floating point 16 at 17.82 teraflops, and floating point 32 at 8.909 teraflops. So is this a 4.6 teraflop on floating point 32? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, they didn't give that much info. Memory is probably the big one. LPDDR5X, 8533 megatransfers per second rate, up to 64 gigs, 136 gigabyte per second bandwidth, 8 memory channels. Holy crap.
That's good.
So it's going to be really interesting to see when this comes out. By the way, it also has AV1 encoding built in. So
that's going to be great.
Yeah. Yep.
That's going to be awesome for encoders, decoders, rendering stuff.
Yeah, this is one of those products that really does have the potential to change the game entirely when it comes to what do consumers expect out of parts, out of hardware. Because we've seen new platforms definitely have massive impacts on the market, on not just desktop, mobile space especially. When the iPad came out, suddenly you didn't necessarily need a laptop anymore. Everyone carrying these giant, desktop replacement laptops around, CAD workstations or Photoshop, behemoths or whatever else. Starting right up, obviously the iPad came out, what was it, 2010? iPad launched, and it was a cute little device, nice little ancillary device, but then it got more and more powerful, and by 2016, you could not carry a laptop anymore and do all of your photo editing directly on an iPad. And so there's been some massive paradigm shifts in the last decade or so of new devices and new technologies on, from transitioning from x86 to ARM specifically, that have made some huge inroads into traditional PC spaces.
Well, especially for the casual user. I mean, it used to be, your parents who just occasionally used Facebook or email or whatever like that, they would have like a cheap laptop or desktop. And then when mobile phones started becoming more and more powerful, that's all they need. It's got all the computing power that they need.
Yeah.
And then so now the focus for casual is on your phone. It's on the mobile device, tablets and phones. So that's why the development exploded on that, because they went from playing solitaire on Windows to playing Angry Birds on your phone or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There was another interesting announcement this week as well. Not really an announcement, not really a product, but a thing that we all knew was coming. Mm-hmm. And I love some of the journalistic ways they were trying to hype up this particular story. Nvidia quietly trying to sneak into the desktop PC CPU space by building their own CPUs. Let me give you a little hint. When Nvidia tries to buy the CPU rights from ARM to make their own CPUs, they're not sneaking up on anyone.
Yeah, we already know what their intentions are going to be.
I read so many articles that started that way. This'll blow your mind. Nvidia wants to make CPUs. It's like, yeah.
We know that.
They tried to buy literally ARM to cut everyone else out of that market to have it for themselves and develop it themselves. And now they just have to license it like everyone else. But that was not really... It didn't shock anyone when this announcement came out that Nvidia and AMD may launch ARM chips for Windows PCs soon. By the way, AMD is also investigating this as well. That's the quiet one, because obviously AMD is pretty entrenched in x86, but you know, even Intel has looked at ARM from time to time, or RISC-V or other platforms like that. You have to at least be familiar with what's out there, and if you should be pivoting. I always taught help desk people.
Yeah.
Just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean that's the way we should be doing it.
Oh, yeah. No. And things change all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Standards change. What used to be a certain standard program that was industry standard changes all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes years, but it does change. So people who just rest on their laurels or rest on their own way of doing things, if they don't keep improving, someone's going to take it over. Someone's going to do it better.
Intel learned a pretty hard lesson over the last 5 years about what resting on your laurels and just taking those stock options will get you. Not putting the money into R&D like they should have. Not, sunk cost fallacy of, well, Core has worked so far, so let's just keep rocking literally into Salem shrunk down until it won't shrink anymore. And then what happens? Your competition catches up, and now your competition has momentum. Yeah. Intel learned a hard lesson, and now
they're still reaping that decision.
They're still reaping that decision a little bit. Although it's been really funny that AMD refuses to ever make the right move to go for the jugular.
Yeah.
It's like there have been a couple opportunities, even the last 2-3 years, where right now, for example, what did Intel just launch? 14th gen Raptor Lake refresh. Literally the same SKU at the same price with the same performance level, maybe 1% higher, maybe 1% faster.
Just a teeny tiny bit.
Not even there's no improvement to these CPUs at all. Is AMD going to counterpunch? Like
they could.
If you had something to announce, if you had just something sitting in your back pocket, if you had a flagship destroyer, if you go, there's no reason we couldn't put 32 cores onto an AM5 chip. Screw it, let's launch it. If you had that in your back pocket, you would decimate the top end of the market. And it wouldn't even be close. AMD did this in the server realm. Although the problem with AMD in the server realm is they don't have the
adoption rate.
They don't have the adoption rate or the production capacity to keep up for some of these high orders.
That's the same two things,
and so while Intel is going, hey, Sapphire Rapids finally launched. It's got 56 cores and whatnot. Meanwhile, AMD goes, hey, we got Genoa with 96. Oh, and by the way, each core is still faster. you know, so that's an example of AMD really going for it. But on the consumer realm, it seems like Intel will just trip over themselves, and AMD will just go,
yeah. There you go.
And it's so frustrating because I want nothing sparks competition more like someone getting a sucker punch in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Nvidia and AMD, it should come as no surprise. Obviously, they're interested in ARM technology, specifically desktop CPUs, or just, you know, CPUs in general. Nvidia in particular has to rely on its competitors to produce parts so it can run its own hardware. Nvidia makes graphics cards. Graphics cards are basically useless without a platform to put them on.
Right.
So any compute server still relies on a backbone that is either Intel or AMD. Every sale you make still results in money going directly to your direct competition. And it's a situation that no OEM, no product manufacturer ever wants to find themselves in. You don't want to be reliant on adoption rate for your competitor to sell your own product. And that's probably taking the analogy a little too far, but there is some truth in that, you know, for every, you know, 12 GPU 4U compute node that Nvidia sells, AMD's getting 15 grand for a dual Genoa system. Like, and there's just no escaping that unless you seize the means of production and you start making your own servers with blackjack and hookers. So last year, Nvidia tried to purchase ARM. Now, ARM doesn't make any products themselves. Instead, they license intellectual property.
Technology, yeah.
They license chip designs. And so... But ARM is fully capable, as we've seen, of running a full-fat desktop OS at, you know, desktop levels of performance. See Apple's M2, especially their Ultra and their Max lineups. And then, you know, see what Qualcomm is cooking up with Snapdragon lately. If Nvidia could own internally their own CPU manufacturing and get tighter integration with the silicon at both ends of things, not rely on Intel or AMD to implement updates or pathways or architectures that benefit your specific product, it'd be huge for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Likewise, AMD, while not nearly as reliant, still, you know, they make the x86 and the graphics processors, and so does Intel now. But again, you don't want to rest on your laurels and let ARM and these low-power multi-core chips ruin what you had going with x86 because you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, exactly. It was already starting to encroach on their bread and butter. I mean, because with Apple, like you said, Apple, one of the first ones that came out that people were super surprised by the performance. They were all straight Intel until they weren't.
Yep. And until they didn't need to be anymore.
Yeah, until they didn't need to be anymore. Exactly. They're like, we don't need to be with you anymore.
Right. I wonder if Nvidia is doing this because they couldn't buy ARM. Let's be clear. Nvidia would be doing this whether they bought ARM or not. They just have to license ARM now instead of owning it and not having to license it. They wanted to own it outright and potentially also license it for other for other manufacturers. They wanted to be ARM.
They wanted to be the source, yeah.
Right.
They wanted to be the spice melange.
Right. So yes, no, this is precisely why Nvidia wanted ARM. Nvidia wants their own platform that they can call theirs, top to bottom, every nut and bolt, every piece of silicon inside of it, every architectural decision. AMD and Intel, you know, already enjoy that luxury. Why not Nvidia as well?
Yeah.
Oh, lots of good news this week. I liked this one.
Yeah.
Just like I like, our sponsor. Today's episode of Talking Heads is brought to you by Linode. Hosting your own servers also means you get to host all your own problems. Even the most skilled network engineers will tell you you should decentralize your network. So why not host your services with Linode? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes software for most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS servers, VPN gateways, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. They offer shared CPUs for as little as $5 per month and can scale as high as your needs go, whether it be virtualized hosting, dedicated enterprise GPUs, NVMe block storage, and more. Even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site. Because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode is also expanding at light speed, with 12 new global data centers planned before the end of this year. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. Again, that's linode.com/craftcomputing, and a huge thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
Yeah. Thanks for the beers, Linode.
Cheers to
beers
that.
are on you. That's right.
Nope. People were trying to tell me at the beginning, but they didn't come right out and say it. I completely forgot to change your name over.
Yes.
So you've been.
Yeah. I tried texting you, but I don't think you saw it. not on your phone, but through Discord.
Discord was kind of open.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's there. Okay, I see it now. Whatever.
Quick change.
Chris Titus, I'll send you the bill for the free advertising.
There you go.
Let's see. How's your beer treating you?
I'm about halfway done, and this is absolutely delicious. It's got that big, bursting citrus flavor that you know and love from Great Notion.
Uh-huh.
But because it's a fresh hop, it's got this like kind of green aftertaste that you get from the fresh hop.
Okay.
So like up front, you get the citrus notes, but then you get the greenness from the back. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know if you've had fresh hop.
Yeah.
Some people might not have had fresh hop before, but it definitely has a fresher flavor to it. So it's like mowing your lawn, like that smell you get when you freshly mow your lawn.
That's probably the best equivalent is fresh cut lawn clippings, maybe slightly damp.
Yeah. Absolutely wonderful flavor. I am thoroughly enjoying it. How's yours?
It is truly fantastic.
Is this the Rainbows and Unicorns?
Rainbows and Unicorns.
Yes, I've had that one before. It is fantastic.
It is so good. It's not words that I would usually use to describe your perfect summer beer, not day.
Mm-hmm.
Crisp, bright, playful. Yep. This is none of those things. But it still manages to just hit that spot so well. Where it's got a little bit of a Pilsner front end to it.
Oh, like
where
a little crisp,
just
crisp
a little
biscuity malt.
Yeah, just a little bit of a hit of that crispy malt kind of hit thing. And then it's just refreshing. Like
Sunny D. No, Sunny D tastes like orange juice and perfume.
Yeah. You're not wrong. No, it's I'm trying to think of like the right soda or the right
like Squirt or something.
No, it's flat. Lemonade, maybe.
A lemonade.
Maybe like a kiwi lemonade or limeade or something like that.
Okay, there you go.
Where it's not really citrusy or bitey, but it's just refreshing. Like, it's this weird middle ground between like malty and hoppy, and they both kind of win. right in the middle, right.
Malts and hops in harmony.
Yes, so good. Let's see. Terrapup says, "I'm late. Did you lose a bet with one of your daughters?" Nope. Nope. I did address this at the top of the show. I let my big mouth slip out a challenge of someone said, "Hey, how much to wear that headset for an entire episode?" And I said, "Well, I've been really eyeing this graphics card." And they said, "Done." I went, okay.
Now you got to wear cat ears.
So now I have an Nvidia SFF 4000 on the way, and you get cat ear Jeff for a day.
At least you didn't have to wear the cat tail, because you know how that gets attached.
Yeah. At least I don't have to use the microphone.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
That's a little bit better too.
I switched over to that earlier, and whew, we all would have lost that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not super hoppy, not super malty. I mean, It's crystal freaking clear.
I've had it before, but it's been a long time. I want to say a couple of years. Yeah, I was just at Breakside because they have opened a brewery up in Astoria, Anonymous Astoria. I went to Breakside there, and they didn't have that one on tap, but they did have a delicious barley wine that was there.
Ooh.
Breakside makes some great dark beers. Oh man, they make some great dark beers.
Yes. They don't distribute most of their darks either.
No.
Breakside's traditionally, like, if you find them in stores, it's usually their IPAs, their pales, their pilsners. Their, they've got a really good hef as well.
They do.
But yeah, no, if you go to Breakside, they've got some
bottles.
Killer malty stuff.
Yeah. They do release every once in a while specialty bottle releases. And if you can get your hands on those are great.
Mm-hmm.
I still remember one of the weirdest beers that I had at Breakside, and I went there specifically because it was so odd that I had to try it. And it was called Duck Duck Go, and it was a stout that it was a porter. I take it back. It was a porter that used duck bones. So they had a bunch of roasted duck, and then they took the bones from the roasted duck and they put it in the boil. And I'm like, okay, I'll try that. It just tasted like a slightly salty stout or porter. It was okay, but it was interesting.
Yeah. Don't know if I should bring this up, but a lot of people around here know Skull. Apparently, he's heading out for to take care of some family that landed in the hospiil tonight. So I just read that
everything's okay.
Skull, I hope everything is fine. I truly do.
Yeah.
I just saw the message earlier and just clicked on it and went, oh man. So kind of took me off guard. And a lot of people around here know Skull, love Skull. He's been a mod of mine for 6 years now. Holy crap!
Always shows up.
Almost
shows
6
up
years.
In the after party. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, no, Skull is a fantastic guy. So Skull, I hope everything is okay. Thinking about you. So hope everything works out. All right. Let's see. We talked about a little bit about AMD kind of flirting with ARM there. We do have another AMD related story, and that is that AMD has officially dropped RX 500 series and VEGA-Series Vulkan support from their Linux driver.
Really?
So basically their official driver package no longer supports RX 500, so that's your vaunted RX 580, the card that just refuses to die, and any of the Vega cards, Vega 56, Vega 64, that's also presumably the Radeon 7, and possibly also some first generation APUs, which also were reliant on Vega, your 2200 and 2400G based systems with your Vega 8 and Vega 11 cards. or integrated graphics. This is only at the moment affecting the Vulkan driver. There's also an OpenGL driver that may or may not still have support, although if they drop support for one API, I'm assuming they're going to start
probably do it for all,
dropping support for the other. Now, this is only in the official AMD driver for Linux, but most of the kernel adopted drivers are actually open source community drivers,
yes.
The AMDI driver. So no word on whether or not that will be affected or not, if community will maintain updates for Polaris and Vega based graphics cards, or if they too will be deprecating them. But
knowing the Linux community, probably not. They'll probably keep it going forever and ever and ever, as long as they can.
I think Nvidia's 9000 series is still supported, like
yes.
the last one.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yep. LOL. Glad we have Mesa drivers. Yep. Does anyone use the official AMD drivers? There are likely some that use official AMD drivers.
Yeah. Some people who, like, if you have that card sit in there, and when you first install most Linux distros, they're going to use the official and not the open source.
Actually, most of the time, the open source drivers are integrated into the kernels, and so
they are integrated to the kernels, but they're not the first ones. Like, you can usually go in and then into the settings and just say, "Oh, I want the open source ones," and they're there.
Right.
Almost always there.
Right.
But yeah, but I think for the most part, it just goes, okay, by default, it's going to give you the official drivers.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're running Linux as a desktop OS and you have a Vega or Polaris based AMD GPU, the latest Vulkan driver will no longer be supported.
Yeah, so go switch to the open source one. You'll probably be happier. I mean, because there's a lot of people that have older boxes, and they're like, well, what am I going to do with this? I'll throw Linux on it and mess around with it. That's what I usually do.
All right.
You're done already, huh?
I'm done already.
I'm still sipping on mine. You know, the one thing I have a complaint about, I have this this glass.
Uh-huh.
The tentacles hurt my fingers.
Is it ceramic or epoxy what is it?
I think it's epoxy.
Okay.
I don't think it's ceramic, but it's definitely epoxy.
Yeah.
But yeah, gripping this thing, it kind of hurts.
I bet.
That was my yeah. I like my Viking skull cup better. Cool looking cup. I mean, I really like this cup.
Yeah,
it's pretty neat looking. But god dang, it hurts my fingers.
I've got a Viking horn up on top of my fridge.
Well, that won't hurt your fingers.
Yeah, the whole. But... Yeah, it came with a holster for it too, so you can take it to beer fests.
Oh yeah. Well, you can technically take it anywhere.
Right.
Like, what's in your horn, sir? You want to check out what's in my horn? Do you want to grab my horn?
Do I need to take the horn and the holster to Vegas?
Yeah, there you go.
Just, I mean,
walk around. I mean, because you could drink out in public.
You can. I could probably get like a Sam Adams winter lager or something like that in there.
Just throw it in there. Yeah.
How much to fill this up?
Yeah, just put it in there. Come on, this is Vegas. You guys will do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Have we talked about the pfSense license changes yet? HomeLab Plus version is gone. Wasn't even aware of pfSense license changes. I will definitely look into it. I typically don't deal with pfSense. I don't keep up with pfSense. There was a time that I did because I had a number of clients that used it. I don't use it in my home lab. I no longer actively support any clients that have it deployed. So I just don't read about it. If there is someone who knows, it's probably Tom Lawrence, Lawrence Systems. he'd probably be a fantastic resource for that. I haven't seen anything. Like I said, your comment is the first that I'm hearing of this, of any licensure changes. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and open up my second beer.
All right.
So this is from Terminal Gravity. And since I hate pumpkin beers, we're just going to move right through them and into winter beer season, which I know as an Oregonian, I know I should be all about fresh hop season. I should be all about that August, September hop drop. For me, it's winter ale season.
Oh yeah, no,
winter ales and stouts. Oh,
I do love winter beers. Don't get me wrong. I think I've said this before in the past. My favorite beer festival that they have here is the Fresh Hop Beer Festival, just because it's so laid back, so subdued. Hardly anybody goes there. Lots of great beers to have. All of them unique.
I will counter with the Festival of the Dark Arts.
No, that I have not gone yet. It's just Festival of the Dark Arts is so hard to get tickets for.
It is.
So hard to get tickets for. In fact, they go on sale November. I have a reminder to tell me that they're going on sale so I can pick up some tickets. I even have connections in Astoria now because I got friends who live there.
Yeah.
I can stay at their house or come pick me up.
Tell you what, Steve, you get me a ticket, I will go with you.
Ooh.
So, you
well,
if you manage,
I'll have to reserve a whole bunch then because I got like 4 people that are wanting to come.
Right.
But yes, I will.
Yeah. No, if you manage to snag a ticket,
you'll come.
Heck, I'll pay double for the ticket.
Okay.
So right. I'll put a bounty on the ticket.
You put a bounty on the ticket. Yeah, honestly, I would look forward to it because it's Fort George who hosts it. This last time I went to Astoria, they had one of the best tasting barley wines I've had in a long time. It was so delicious. And if they're gonna have beers like that there, like every booth is gonna have a beer like that there. I'm gonna.
Every
my liver's gonna shut down.
Every booth has a beer like that there.
Yeah.
So the one time I went to the Festival of the Dark Arts was very early in my YouTube career. Was 2017. And I thought I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna vlog this. I'm gonna do a beer vlog where I do like a Blitz beer review. And it started out with, "Hey, I'm here on the Oregon coast in Astoria, Goonies and everything, and we're gonna Fort George Festival of the Dark Arts. It's gonna be great." And I did like 4 or 5 beer reviews of stouts. But even at a 2-ounce pour, when the average ABV is like 13.5, it gets there pretty quick. We got early bird tickets too, so we started drinking at 10
early.
we got into the beer fest at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
I didn't leave the beer fest until 11 p.m.
Wow.
That was an experience.
Called out. Yeah, I remember one time when John still owned the tap house, he got invites to a bunch of industry shows. And they had a springtime show with only distributors and people who own tap houses and whatnot.
Yeah. And
it was at the Portland Zoo. And so John called me up and says, "Hey, I got an invite to this thing. You want to come? It's free. You don't. It's not like a festival where you have to pay money per taster.
Mm-hmm.
These are vendors that want you to buy their beer, so they're going to give you free samples."
Right.
I'm like, "Oh yeah, dude, something that's as many beers as like a beer fest, but I don't have to pay for my samples." Yes, of course, I want to go.
Right.
At the zoo, perfect. So we go there, and we first get there. We're watching people, and they don't give you big samples. That's, to be fair, they don't give you huge samples, little tiny samples, but they're free.
Yeah.
And we see people like taking sips, and then like, oh yeah, this is good. They spit it out, just like wine tasting.
Right.
I'm like, why are people spitting this out? Well, this is delicious beer. You don't spit out delicious beer. But then by the time we made the rounds throughout just about everything, drinking everything, we're like, I don't know if I can walk.
I get it now.
Let alone anywhere. Right. I'm like, I get why people are spitting this stuff out.
Yeah.
Because, they're small pours, but you get so many of them.
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, it builds up.
Yeah.
But luckily it was the zoo. So we walked around quite a bit. looked at the animals.
I believe the Festival of the Dark Arts is the most inebriated I have ever been in public. Possibly inebriated ever.
Yeah. Okay.
And
you want to go again?
I do. I need a chaperone.
Yeah. Well, see, like I said, I have a friend that lives there, but he lives quite a ways away. And if I tell him I'm going to this, he's going to want to come too, and he won't be able to drive me back to his place. So I'm like, why don't we just get like a hotel?
You need to get a hotel because from the Festival of the Dark Arts, they have shuttles that go to all the hotels.
Yeah,
and so no one drives. You show up via Uber to the event, and then you shuttle back. I didn't know they had a returning shuttle back, so I walked it at 11 p.m.
And that was what, February in Astoria on the Oregon coast?
It was December 28th or something like that.
Oh my god! Yeah, it might have been back then. But...
It was sideways sleeting. It was like 28 degrees outside.
Yeah. The Oregon coast in the wintertime is unforgiving.
It's brutal.
Cold. Yeah.
It was sleeting sideways, maybe like 30, 35 mile an hour gusts. And I was staying at a hotel, I think 2 miles from. I made it back.
Sobered you up real quick.
Yes, but at the same time, no. I made it back to my hotel. Got the key in the door, opened the door. The guy that I had booked the hotel with, he was flat unconscious. Not even on his bed. He landed on like the side of his bed. And I'm like, I do not blame you in the least. Yeah. I managed to like hit the bed on my way down. So I got back to the hotel like at midnight. Woke up at 8 a.m. feeling the best I've ever felt.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's like, what the nice, good beers do for you.
No hangover. No anything. Like 7-ish hours of sleep on a hotel bed in Astoria after being legitimately inebriated for 12 plus hours. Oh, yeah. Woke up at 8 o'clock going, I can get some pancakes.
Yeah. See, that's another thing. I don't know what it is on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason at the Oregon coast, breakfast on the coast is like the thing to do. And you don't go to like a Denny's or anything like that. There's specialty breakfast places.
Pig and pancake.
Yeah. Like they have that there. There's no pig and pancake anyplace else except on the coast.
Yep.
And that's where you go.
And they do everything, and they do it well. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never experienced it anyplace else because I've been on the East Coast. I don't remember seeing too many breakfast places on East Coast beaches. And even California beaches, I don't see it too much. Lots of sushi places down there. But
I think there's a lot of brunch options, California.
Yeah.
Like your 10 a.m. mimosa. No, I need like a 6 a.m. Belgian waffle.
Yeah. Waffle House is East. I don't know that. Do they have Waffle House on the East? I don't remember seeing any. I know they're more prevalent in the
Waffle House is huge in the Southeast. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they exist like on the East Coast proper, like as you get to like Virginia, Massachusetts, New York kind of thing. But
yeah, because I've been to Waffle House before in like Texas and stuff like that, but never on the East Coast.
So, jumping straight from summer to winter, the whole conversation started because I was opening a winter beer. From Terminal Gravity Brewing, it is the Festival Winter Strong Ale.
Nice.
So the middle of nowhere, center of the universe is what the bottom of the can says. And this one is a 7.9%. Willamette Centennial and Cascade hops. Winter warmer with the perfect balance of malt sweetness, bitterness, and spice.
Now, do they? I don't know if the Festival, because I've had the Festival before, but I don't remember if they do yearly. Because like some places when you go to like Untapped specifically, they'll have yearly releases, and sometimes they'll just be like, "Oh no, this is just Festival."
I don't think this one changes year to year.
Oh, okay. Because some of them do like year to year changes, or the recipe's slightly different.
Right.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of some of the winter ones that do more of the once yearly.
Well, I know like Abyss, which is still considered a winter ale, kind of ish, because it comes out in the winter time.
Right.
That's a yearly release.
I mean, you've got the big ones. You've got like Mother of All Storms. You've got
Mother of All Storms does come out in the winter time too. That's a great one.
Yep.
Doesn't Sierra Nevada do a yearly winter one too? I don't remember if they do different recipes though.
I know
what's their Sierra Nevada, what's their winter beer?
Oh gosh, I can see it.
I know. Winter beer. What is it? Celebration. The Celebration IPA.
Yes. Okay.
That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same every year. So I don't think it's like, the Celebration 2023 release or anything like that.
Yeah. Most of the winter ales that I lean to, there's Ninkasi's Slayer, which is a phenomenal winter ale.
And I love Burr by Nick and
yes.
Burr.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many good winter ales. Most of them are the same recipe, but they only brew them for 2 months.
Right.
So, no, this one's quite good. Made in Enterprise, Oregon, way up there in the Northeast.
Yeah, there's a little Trek.
Yep.
Reference. That was long enough for me to finish my beer, and I'm gonna put my tentacle skull glass off to the side because my fingers need a rest. And I'm gonna use the Craft Computing pint glass, and I'm going to do the Karma Citra double IPA by Barcidius. And
by the way,
hopefully...
I love your Lower Decks background today.
Oh, thank you. I know. I'm like, I got to get a new Trek background. It's like, let's do Lower Decks. That'd be great.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Strange New Worlds Lower Decks crossover episode? Did you watch that?
Yes.
Those old scientists? Oh my god, It's so good.
Yeah.
I've watched it like 4 times now. Just because there's something that I see in it every single watch through.
I actually watched it twice because I watched it late at night and I fell asleep the first time. So I had to go bring it back up again and finish watching it.
Every time I watch it, there's something that I miss in a nuance of one of the actors doing something that is just so completely on point.
Yeah.
We've talked about the big ones about mounting the horse and going Riker and throwing his leg over the saddle. Boimler doing the power walk down the hallway to get away from Una. I mean, there's so many good ones there, but every time I watch, there's a little nuance that either Boimler or Mariner or even Uhura has some good nods.
Some parts on there too. Yeah.
It's...
this is one of the most malt forward IPAs I've had in a while. Like all the hoppiness is on the back end. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know if I can say that I like it too much. Ask me in a little bit.
It's kind of hard when you go in expecting IPA, and then it throws you an absolute curveball.
Oh yeah, no, it's Barcidius. How do you SID? Okay.
So
there it is.
So while
it gets pretty good ratings, but I don't know. Oh, it's a Belgian. That's why it's a Belgian IPA. That's why it's got a more malty forward.
Okay. Getting any ester notes in there, or
not really?
Okay.
Maybe as it warms up.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more malt forward, and then definitely hoppy on the back end, but more of a bitterness, not like a citrus one, which I would think with the Citra hop would be citrusy, right?
Yeah.
But not really. I mean, I'm gonna wait till it warms up before I give my final review here.
All right. Let's go ahead and jump into some Apple talk. So there was some big discussion that we had earlier this year around the California right to repair legislation that was on the docket, and that Apple was suddenly in favor of it.
Oh yeah.
And I said, well, there's a reason for that, because there's some language in here that kind of neuters the intent of a right to repair law. There are stipulations in the law that allow for Apple to continue monopolistic practices,
Right.
with no oversight, no penalty, no nothing.
Right.
And now there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Yes, and it gives them the illusion of like, oh, we're the good guys,
right?
Because we're allowing this,
right? We'll sell you a new fingerprint sensor. It won't work, but we'll sell you the parts.
Yeah.
So device pairing and fusing and software or hardware fuses and things like this.
Right.
These are all acceptable practices within the right to repair legislation in California, and now there's a national bill on the docket that has very similar language, and to the surprise of only people who aren't paying attention, Apple is totally in favor of this language, because Apple says, yeah, we'll give authorized service personnel the parts and tools that they need to be able to do repairs outside of an Apple service center, which basically doesn't exist. But here's the deal. A lot of people interpret right to repair as your right as an individual to wield a screwdriver and a soldering iron yourself and dig in and come hell or high water. It's my device and I can do what I want.
Right.
You have that right. There's nothing anyone else can say to take that away from you. It's not illegal to remove the warranty void if removed stickers. In fact, it's illegal to put those on the devices in the first place, but that's a conversation for another day. The problem is, right to repair is not just you, the consumer, having the right to repair your own devices. You do. The problem is the availability of third-party service personnel.
Yeah.
You, the consumer, having a choice of who repairs your devices, who you go to for service. That's another thing entirely.
That's a whole thing entirely, yeah.
While Apple is required to sell parts for any device that they make now, they're not required to sell them in quantities. They're not required to take bulk orders. They're not required to outright sell specialized hardware and tools and service manuals to anyone who wants them. They still get to gatekeep all of that.
Yeah.
So now you get the choice of, do I go to an Apple service center, like an actual Apple store, and deal with the Genius Bar and roll the dice at that counter?
Yeah.
Or do I take it to a third party who won't be able to get parts for 3 weeks?
Yeah. And they may overcharge me because, oh, well, you want to expedite this thing? A couple $100 extra bucks.
They may not even have the option to
even do that.
To do that, because Apple will not allow service providers to have a back supply of parts, of commonly failed parts. Yeah. You can't have 10 screens for an iPad on hand. You have to RMA screens one by one and prove that a screen has broken or is otherwise unserviceable.
You have to find the part for that, the part number for it, and be like, okay, this part number was part of this lot. Therefore, okay, we validated that you purchased it. So
right.
Put it out to you. We can't just bulk send it to you.
Right.
You got to wait a whole month. Right. And most people will not put up with that. And they're just like, oh, screw it. I'll just go.
I just need my phone to work.
Yeah, exactly. Most people are just going to say that.
And you know what Apple wants? I'll just buy a new one.
Yep, that's what they want. So I'll just get a new one.
Yep.
But then, of course, this could also create like people who, well, if they're just going to buy a new one, they're just going to go to their local, supplier and trade it in and get something new.
Right.
So there's not going to be these leftover phones that they're going to go back to probably Apple that were refurbished and then selling back to you as refurbished that you'll never be able to repair by yourself anyway. That's just a cycle.
Yep.
Over and over again. You'll never really be able to repair it anyway.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, we still allow you to do it. We still say it's okay, but we make it almost impossible for you to do so.
Yep. Gordon Byrne noted that firms like HP, Google, Samsung, and Lenovo have pledged to comply with repair rules on a national level. U.S. Public Interest Research Group communicated a similarly hopeful note in response to Tuesday's event, noting that Apple makes a lot of products and its conduct definitely influences other manufacturers. At the same time, numerous obstacles to repair access remain in place through copyright law, which we hope will be high on an agenda in the IP subcommittee this session. Speaking about basically Apple using DMCA and other copyright-related laws to stifle third-party parts from being placed in devices that customers have bought. So even if you can find a supplier of, let's say, a digitizer for a smartphone, for an iPhone, that a third party manufactures, Apple will say, oh, that is our intellectual property software that you interfaced with Apple. You had to have reverse engineered that, and there's no way you're smart enough to clean room it. So you obviously just stole our property. So we're just going to confiscate these 20,000 digitizers from you and prevent you from installing them in customer phones. So instead of $30 for a digitizer, which actually costs closer to about $10 a piece, you get to pay Apple $130.
Yeah.
Because the DMCA exists and has almost no teeth for people who abuse it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I have not read the bill, the right to repair bill, but there really has to be language around that makes it a little more ironclad. Because as soon as that whispers of right to repair came out, that Apple was already had a team of lawyers combing through everything, finding ways around it. I mean, so if they're like, oh, this is good, we like it, you know that they already have a loophole. They already have a loophole behind it.
Yeah. Yep. And the way the California law was written, there's a dozen loopholes that I saw well before it went to vote. Yeah. Which is why I was kind of like, I don't like this one.
Yeah.
Yes, we want a right to repair bill. That doesn't mean I want any right to repair bill. I want one that actually provides consumers some rights and privileges that they don't have now. And the way that law was written was basically modus operandi can continue as usual, with hardware lockouts and bulk order denial, and you have to be an authorized service provider to buy parts and service equipment and download manuals. No, that's not what right to repair is. Right to repair is the right of a consumer to continue the life of a device in spite of the manufacturer supporting it. Because
it's your device, you can do what you want with it.
Not with the blessing of.
Yeah, right. That is the that's what a bunch of people who subscribe to this channel, and they do it because they love building their own computers, they love building their own electronics, they love tinkering with their own electronics. So this type of stuff is right up our alley, and making sure that we get the right type of right to repair bill is something that we want. This is it though.
While everyone here kind of gets on board with the whole smartphone thing, smartphones are one of those devices that you have a camp that you exist to, whether you know it or not. You're either an Android flagship user, and you go, Apple hasn't innovated for years, but look at this one, it has a toothpick built into the side of it, so suck it, Apple. You're not innovating, this is innovation. or you're an Android mid-tier or budget phone going like, I just need a phone.
I just need a phone. And they're cheap and disposable. It's fine.
Yeah.
Those people don't care, really.
Right. You know, that's kind of the camp that I fall into. I need a phone. I don't need my phone to do more than pull up bank statements every once in a while, email, text, phone calls, browse the web.
Yeah.
That's
you
it.
Know, as big of a
I don't even consume media on my phone. I don't watch videos
I use my phone to stream sometimes, but I don't watch it on my phone that often. Once in a while in bed, maybe I'll watch something in bed, but for the most part, I just use my phone mostly as a organizational device, like for scheduling appointments, to remind me to do things, those type of things. It does really well. As much as gaming has exploded on mobile devices, I actually hate gaming on mobile devices. I'm not a big fan of it.
2 reasons. 1, I hate touchscreen controls. I want tactile buttons.
Me too.
Number 2, it drains my battery and it doesn't last all day anyway.
Quicker. Yeah, I know. So I'm sitting there playing games on it. It takes it down to 50%. I got to go charge it again. Yeah. And I can't use my phone. I mean, yeah. Yep. So I'm with you too. I use my phone as a phone. I would say that my wife uses it a little bit more because she wants a flagship phone because it's got a higher end camera, because she uses her phone also as a camera.
Yeah.
So she wants to make sure that it has a really decent camera on it. I am not the photographer in the family, so I don't really care so much. But
yeah, I will say I do care about the photo quality to a certain extent. The best camera is the one that you carry with you. That's the old adage, and it used to be like that was the justification for point and shoot cameras to ever exist. Was like, oh, this is crap quality and it's got a plastic lens and things like that. It's like, yeah, but I got the picture.
Right.
I wasn't carrying my DSLR and my 70 to 200 f2.8, but the picture exists now. Is it the best picture? No, but it's a picture.
Back in the early late 90s, early 2000s, they had those disposable cameras that you can get for $3 or something like that. Yeah. That people would buy whole bags of, and you'd go to weddings and they'd have them sitting.
We had a dozen or so disposable cameras at our wedding.
Yeah, and people would take pictures of their junk or something like that. They'd go into the bathroom and take a dump, take a picture of it. Here, you guys, just a wedding gift for you.
Yep.
It's
a thing.
It's a thing.
But I have a Pixel 5a. The camera?
Yeah. Great.
Fantastic. Is it the best camera? Does it have all the new?
No.
But it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And it works. And it was cheap. It was $299 for this phone. That's kind of where I want to be with my phone. I don't want to spend $1,400 on something that I keep in my pocket all day, every day.
Yeah.
Then there's the Apple camp, and you have your 2 or 3 tiers of Apple camp. You have your flagship, you have your, I bought the one that's 2 years old because I got it for half price. And then there's the iPhone SE crowd. And there's no in between. Yeah. But I had a greater point for bringing that up.
You gotta come back.
I know I did. Right to repair, phones, flagship, multiple camps. Why did I bring that up? I had a really good point that I was trying to make, and then we got distracted. But yep, it's gone.
All right. Well,
cool. Well,
there you go.
Probably for the better. Let's get into the next story because holy crap, this one's messed up.
Yeah.
Blizzard is raffling off a PC infused with human blood.
That's right. Yeah, if you ever need human sacrifice, or we're getting one step closer with cyborg technology where we actually have human DNA infused in electronics. This is the precursor.
I'd say this is how Terminator starts, but
probably.
It's not even. This is how Star Trek Voyager starts with gel packs and biopacks.
Oh yeah, VEGA. Oh no, wait, what was it? Oh no, never mind. Yeah, no, this real human blood. I didn't even think that human blood would be a very good catalyst for
heat transference.
For heat transfer, yeah. Isn't it? Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of supposed to absorb heat, right? It keeps your body heat in.
Yeah. I mean, part of the property of blood is it does transmit heat throughout your body. But they're being very cagey about the way they're stating this.
Yeah.
A custom liquid-cooled PC infused with real human blood.
Infused. Is that in the? It doesn't necessarily say it's in the coolant though.
It doesn't say it's in the coolant.
Yeah, because it could be like there's a little vial of human blood in there somewhere, just sitting there.
I think that's the more likely scenario.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine.
Because it's human blood it's got biogenics, it's got biology in there. It will decay.
It will decay.
It will have decay.
Right.
And it will gunk up
any organic matter
pumps.
that makes it into your loop will decay, especially because the whole loop heat cycles as your PC is used and not used, which makes it a beautiful breeding ground for algae and bacterias and all kinds of really fun, nasty things.
Oh, yeah.
But they say a custom liquid-cooled PC infused with real human blood.
Not the custom liquid cooling is infused with human blood. There's some tricky wording.
They're being very cagey about this sentence.
Yeah, they're being very cagey about it.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the Angelina Jolie where she's got a vial of, someone's blood in there.
Yeah.
So it's just going to have like...
Oh, God, is this Billy Bob Thornton's blood?
It could be. It's going to be in there.
Remember that train wreck?
Oh, God, yes. I still like Billy Bob Thornton as an actor. He's pretty good.
Oh, totally.
That was a kooky stage for him.
That was a kooky stage from both of them. Angelina Jolie was...
She was super hot at the time. I mean, like, not only as a person, but as an actress.
Yeah.
So was Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah. And she was one leg lift away from Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Like she was legitimately like that crazy for a while. She's kind of toned it down.
She's toned it down quite a bit. Yeah, quite a bit.
Significantly, but
more level heads prevailed, but yeah.
Yeah. There's
I don't know. Do you just think that it's like my guess? Okay, because like look at the picture here. We got this picture.
Yeah, we got the picture.
This is. I'm sure this is not representative of the final product, but this is probably a mock-up of what the final computer.
Yeah, this is quite obviously a 2D image that's been stretched across the side of a case.
My thought is
some of the worst PC Photoshop I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know. So my thought is this the logo right here in the front, the 4, in the Diablo part, that's going to have the human blood in it. That's my thought. That's the infusion.
Okay.
Because you're right. They cannot put it in the coolant.
It can't go in the coolant.
It can't go in the coolant. It's going to gunk that thing up super fast.
Not only that, but from a legal and liability standpoint, there's a massive difference between shipping a sealed vial, molten glass sealed vial of human blood that has been screened for every possible contaminant and contagion and everything else to ensure the safety of whoever receives it. Versus an open system which requires maintenance.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to sit there. It's like, my PC's getting too hot. Let's put the transfusion in there. Let's put more blood in there. Cool it down faster. No, I just think that and when I say that red V,
your uncle comes over and you're like, hey, I need to tap you for a little bit. My PC is running a quart low.
Come on, it's gonna, just put it in there. Stick it in my veins. Dracula's out there. Well, I would like to have this PC. I hear it's consuming the blood. No, and it also says that it's infused. It's infused with real human blood, meaning that it's not got actual human blood in there. I bet you the dye that they used for the red on the logo or whatever, that's going to have the human blood in it.
I'm betting this has some kind of a vial of human blood, some kind of sealed, like, because you can take like a glass vial and you can seal it with a blowtorch and make it.
It's not going to go anywhere. Yeah,
exactly. I'd imagine this is something like that. There is no possible way there is any relation to human blood via coolant.
Yes, no, I agree. It just cannot be done.
Freaking weird if it was. Mm-hmm. Now there's a YouTube video.
To try to do it with
Blizzard was too cowardly to put actual human blood in their liquid PC.
An AI-powered human blood infused PC. That's a marketing. That's a marketing play.
So there. I've partnered with the Red Cross. Yeah. To make it real.
Yep.
Today on the Hacksmith. That's a make it real episode I don't need to see.
Yeah, no, we don't need to see that.
Gotta have a scene where Rhett passes out from blood loss.
I just need to give one more pint, guys.
Yeah.
I need to overclock Morrowind. Oh, yeah, okay, so yeah, maybe the vial of blood is floating in the reservoir.
That could be.
Which, okay, that could be too.
Yeah.
That could be too, because that's not, like, really going anywhere.
Yep.
I mean, it would have to be big enough not to clog any of the intakes or outputs, whatever. But, yeah, that could be possible.
You could create a vial in whatever shape that you wanted. And, seal it inside of a glass, module. And then embed that pretty much wherever you wanted. And so I'm not saying that the possibility that actual human blood in its base state is in the system in some way, shape, or form. What I'm saying is a liquid-cooled PC infused with real human blood is a very cagey spin on words.
Right. That infused word is doing a lot.
It's doing a lot of work in that sense.
It's doing a lot of work on this thing, yeah.
I mean, I've infused blood into my PCs. I mean, it's kind of required to get them to start sometimes, but it's
I've
usually...
infused blood in my pizza and top ramen before on accident. I've done all kinds of things with it.
Yep.
I didn't go advertising to anybody, but...
LED crystals with human blood, so many ways to infuse. Oh, if we're getting into crystals now, are we going, Luke over at LTT, his crystal PC build?
I was going to say Folgers crystals, but, I don't know.
Oh God.
With a glistening drop of Retsin.
I don't know who ever considered Folgers the best part of waking up.
No one's ever done that. Although, actually, you know what? I take that back. I did have a friend who preferred instant Folgers to any other form of coffee. But, to be fair, he did put a lot of cream and sugar into it.
Right, you kind of have to.
You absolutely have to. You can't drink it black. It's not...
No.
It's
even Folgers doesn't recommend that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, gosh. Fallout. The video game, Fallout. The video game TV show adaptation gets a 2024 release date on Prime Video. You will see it April 12th, 2024. The news was announced on Monday, aka Fallout Day, which is technically Halloween, isn't it?
Why would Fallout Day be?
Or no, sorry. Monday, Fallout Day is 10/23. It was a week before Halloween.
Was it really?
That's because if you when you play Fallout, and Fallout 4 did this masterfully.
I remember with Fallout 4 because you had to run to the vault at the beginning.
Right? No. But Fallout 4 did a masterful job of embedding the canon into little details. There's a couple ruined schools that you can go to, and they have Halloween decorations up.
Oh, yeah.
And I love little details like that.
I thought, you know what? I could have sworn that in the opening... Now, didn't they have in the opening sequence, the very opening sequence of Fallout 4, there's the agent that comes to you, he talks to you, and that's where you fill out the forms and
right.
character and whatnot. I could have sworn that as you were going through the neighborhood running to the vault, there was like Halloween decorations there too. But it was definitely fall. I would say that. It was definitely at the fall.
Yeah. No, but in canon, Fallout Day is October 23rd. It's the week before Halloween. Okay.
So this is not technically Fallout Day. They're like retconning the whole thing.
Yeah. But no, they announced on Fallout Day.
They announced on Fallout Day. Yes.
Yeah, they announced on Monday, 10/23. Yes. That Fallout will premiere on April 12th, 2024, a TV show based on Fallout the video game. It will take place in Vault 33, one such bunker that is a prominent setting in the video games. The Fallout show will also take place in the official canon of the games.
Yeah, it's got Walter Goggins in there. It's he's a Justified guy. He's a bad guy. He was a bad guy in Justified.
Okay, yeah.
He's good. He's a good actor. I don't remember where Vault 33 was in. Which one? Was it Fallout 76?
Fallout 2, I believe.
2? I'm seeing not much is known about. I'm looking at the wiki here.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember either. Not much is known about Vault 33, as the show has not yet been released. So
the vault is confirmed to be in Los Angeles.
Okay, so it's in LA. So the beginning of 2 happened. The start of 2 was New Klamath, and then you worked your way down to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But I don't remember going to Vault 33.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's been 2 Fallout games that can take place near there. There's Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas. New Vegas did have a California section.
Yep.
Although I don't know if Fallout or if Vault 33 was part of that. If it's not in the Fallout wiki, I'm saying it was not. Otherwise, it would have been mentioned as being part.
Well, that's when I read this article. I was like, it says the story begins, which is maybe it's saying the bunkers are prominent. Yes, the bunkers are prominent. Vault 33, I don't remember being in any of the video games. Although Vault 33 jumpsuit is planned to appear in Fallout 76 in a future update.
How would an LA Vault jumpsuit make it all the way to West Virginia?
I don't know.
Mountain Mama. Come on.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I mean, some of the people who are making the show, who are starring in the show, previously did some stuff that I really like.
David Lynch, isn't he one of the directors in there?
No, he was. So not David. David Lynch. If David Lynch made a Fallout, dude, I would be all over that. That would be amazing if David Lynch did this. No, someone who is attached to David Lynch or who frequently works with David Lynch.
Okay, gotcha.
McLaughlin.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no. If it's, dude, I would love a Fallout.
Fallout directed by David Lynch.
Oh man, dude. I would absolutely.
I kind of had my hopes up there for a second.
Dude, that would be amazing.
Yes. David, if you're listening, like let's make that happen, okay? I have no say, but I guarantee I can make the right connections.
Yeah. But I don't know, it's being released on Amazon Prime. Hopefully it'll be good. I mean, I had such high hopes for a lot of recent series that came out on Amazon Prime.
Middle Earth.
Yeah, not that great.
Yeah.
Wheel of Time, not that great.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is going to be better. I don't know. I mean, it just depends on who the directors are. The acting look like these people have some pretty good chops. I think they'll be okay. We'll see. I'll still watch it. I'll watch the first season.
Yeah, I mean, it's Fallout. I'm gonna check it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I've played Fallout from the very originals.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
think the only one I didn't play was Fallout Tactics. I
never played Tactics. I did play 1 and 2 in their original releases in the 90s from Interplay.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, had the discs for them.
3, 4. I played a little bit of 76. I can't say I played a lot of it, but
I will say I owned. I remember really liking Fallout. I remember Fallout 2 was kind of meh for me.
No, that was the thing that drawed me in like completely.
No,
I was obsessed with Fallout 2 for the longest time.
No, for me it was like eh. I liked the original, but I think it was more I just didn't put the time into Fallout 2 to really get into
Fallout 2. There was so many like little Easter eggs everywhere to explore. I mean, I liked it because you started out in Oregon. You started in Southern Oregon, and you worked your way down to California and all that type of stuff. But that's the part that I liked about it. And there were so many like just little tiny Easter eggs everywhere. The story was great. The fact that you could make yourself just as dumb as rocks and it changed the dialogues. That was hilarious. Right. So it started new characters like who needs intelligence? And then I noticed the dialogue changed.
Yeah, I think when Fallout 2 was out, I was more still stuck in Diablo 2 and I was getting into Warcraft 3 and so I was like, nah. Like it was more just like disinterest because there were other amazing titles out.
No, they were.
And I just didn't put the time into it.
Yeah. No.
But no, Fallout 3 came out. I played the crap out of Fallout 3.
Fallout 3 was awesome too. Well, there was a huge gap between 2 and 3.
Yeah, 2 came out in 99 and I think Fallout 3 came out in 2008.
Yeah, it took a long time. Yeah. There's a huge
Might have even been 2000. I think it was 2009.
Well, because it was Interplay who did the first 2,
right?
And then Interplay with kaput.
Yes.
And then Bethesda picked up the license for it.
Correct.
Like, we're doing this.
Correct.
Dude. Yeah, because I was at, I believe I was at the E3 where they announced Fallout 3. There was a lot of hoopla around that.
Well, I was at the QuakeCon where they announced Fallout 76, and there was not much hoopla.
I know. We talked about it. Actually, there's a great I don't know if you follow the Internet Historian, the YouTuber. He does a great kind of recap about the disaster of Fallout 76 and why it was such a just shit show.
I was there. There was no vibe in that building at all.
I know. Yeah, and when it first came out, I am so glad I didn't buy it day one because like I had been a fan up to that point of all the Fallout games, but for some reason, even though I was kind of hyped for Fallout 76, I didn't buy it day one. I'm so glad I didn't.
I didn't buy it at all.
I got it. It was in it was one of the Humble monthly bundles.
Okay.
So I got it.
Okay.
I have it. So I played it a little bit because I've heard that it has improved. That it's supposed to be better than the day it was released. But I mean, I just played it enough to be like, oh, this feels like a Fallout game. Okay, right. I'm in West Virginia, and this is. I think I went and like did the first 2 missions, and I'm like, okay, well, I got to go to bed.
Yeah,
and that's the most I ever played into it. So
yeah. But you have a cell phone, right?
Yeah, that's right. I have a cell phone.
At least I wasn't at BlizzCon that year.
Right.
Holy crap!
Well, it was kind of funny. They did that whole thing with the the mobile Blizzard or the mobile Diablo, and then like right afterwards, oh, here's Diablo 4.
I said as much when that happened. I said this launch was so incredibly botched because you know what people want. Yeah. You come out on stage and say, we're announcing a new Diablo title. And people go...
And people are just like crazy. God. And they're like, it's a mobile one.
It's a mobile play-to-win game. Or pay-to-win game. And the reaction was just dead flat. And they're like, what? You guys don't have phones?
No. They should have flipped it. They should have announced Diablo 4. People would have went nuts. The next year, you could be like, okay, we're still working on Diablo 4. Here's some previews. By the way, to satiate your Diablo 4 bloodlust, we're releasing the mobile version. No. It would have been much better received.
They could have even done the mobile launch and avoided the patronizing, feedback.
Oh, what? You don't have phones?
You don't have phones? What? I heard you guys were all about pay-to-win games and microtransactions. They could have done without some of the messaging, but announced only that mobile game at BlizzCon. Probably still wouldn't have gone down as well. But all they had to do, the only thing they had to do, was, oh, and by the way, there's one more thing.
Oh yeah,
and the lights go out. And the projector comes on, and there's a burning 4 that just fades into view, and say, we expect it to launch in 2023. It is in active development. Be prepared. The mobile game is to hold you all off until the event that is Diablo 4. Like,
well, that's what Bethesda
all
did.
they had to do.
That's what Bethesda did with the new Elder Scrolls. That's exactly what Bethesda did. They're just like, we're not going to show you anything. We're just going to say, hey, it is in development.
Here's Elder Scrolls Online. By the way, dun 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 dun.
It's coming up.
Here's number 6.
It's coming out. Don't worry, we're working on it.
Yep.
And people will be like, okay, that's cool. That's fine.
But then here's the flip side of Bethesda is they also went, oh, and also here's Starfield.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which, are you still playing Starfield?
I am.
Oh, okay. I still haven't picked it up yet, but I probably will eventually.
It's very much a Bethesda RPG.
Okay.
It has.
I like Bethesda RPGs.
I do too. It has a lot of the same charms of Fallout games and Elder Scrolls games.
Skyrim, yeah.
It has a lot of the same quest dynamics and there's a lot of side quests. Are they consequential at all? No. Some of them are really fun. They've got some fun stories in them. The shipbuilder's amazing.
Yes, I've seen a lot of shipbuilding examples.
Sitting down and spending some time with that. I've got a couple of really cool builds that I'm really proud of. But there are some very winding side quests that take you in some unexpected directions and whatnot. Have I finished the main story? Of course not. It's a Bethesda RPG. I'm going to spend 100 hours before I bother going through the final 2/3 of the main quest. Right. That's just how I play them. But no, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So.
Yeah, no, I typically will pick up a Bethesda game day one if it's an RPG, but for Starfield, I did not. Mainly because I was still in the middle of playing like 3 other games at the time. I'm like, I just don't have time for it. If I wait until Christmas time, it'll probably be on sale, and then I'll be ready to play it, and then I can pick it up for like 30% off or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I plan on doing.
Yep. No, if you can get it on a deal, it's an even better deal, but it's worth the $60. It really is.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
You'll put the hours in, unquestioned. So, Epic Brewing has announced their 2023 Big Bad Baptiste barrel-aged Imperial Stout variants. Yes. These are always fun to see come out this time of year. These are up there with the Goose Island Bourbon County Stouts. Yes. They're up there with what are some other like seasonal variants that come out?
I'm hesitant to compare it to like the Yeti Stouts that come up from Great Divide.
Okay, yeah.
I'm usually disappointed by the Yeti Stouts, to be fair, though. But the Big Bad Baptistas I typically love.
Yes.
So
these are from Epic Brewing. If you're not familiar with them, they are big, bold, barrel-aged imperial stouts. They typically go from about 12 to 17%. And they're annual releases, and they have different variants every single year. This year, we've got definitely a unique lineup. First off, we've got a s'mores coming out.
Which is going to be what you think.
Yep.
Chocolate marshmallow. Graham.
Coquito?
I think that's how you pronounce it. Coquito. Is that just mostly... It's a cocktail, right? It's a Puerto Rican cocktail?
Yeah.
It's got rum and something else. Oh, rum, cinnamon, and vanilla.
Yeah.
So rum soaked coconut finished with cinnamon and vanilla. That sounds wonderful. I want that. That sounds really good.
I love the can art of the Naked Baptist.
Yes, because it's censored. It's got the little pixelated.
It's hilarious. What you are about to drink is the naked depiction of Big Bad Baptist in the way the brewers intended it. Be ready to indulge in au natural, bourbon barrel-aged deliciousness. Unadulterated by cost. It's just their base recipe tossed into bourbon barrels.
Yeah, no flavors whatsoever, just base recipe in bourbon barrel.
Yep. Which, the Big Bad Baptiste is already a phenomenal...
Good. It's good beer by itself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 10% beer that's pretty much available year-round.
It's much like Dragon's Milk, like just straight Dragon's Milk.
Yeah.
Without any kind of variant to it.
Yeah. There's also the Blueberry Pie. I bet you can guess what that one's based on.
Right.
There's the Chocolate Caramel, sea salted chocolate caramel.
Yeah, very good.
And then there's the Brewer's Keep. Epic Cellar team has over a decade of experience perfecting world-class barrel-aged beer. What you are holding in your hand was obsessed over for 12 months prior to bottling. The base beer of this brew is the highest gravity beer ever brewed at Epic.
Oh my god.
Using only choice bourbon barrels and in-house techniques, we've created a beer with flavors only attainable through true craftsmanship. Savor the experience.
Okay, so it's kind of funny because they say it's the highest gravity beer, not the highest ABV, which is different. Right, so the highest gravity...
Again, that word is doing some work there.
Right, you're right. So the highest gravity is just the most amount of sugar that they had put in it. Now, how much sugar was eaten by the yeast? We don't know.
Yeah.
But because it's so if the yeast didn't do its job, it's going to be a very sweet beer.
Yeah.
But if it did do its job, it's going to be a very high ABV.
Yes. So
I'm looking forward to all these. And Big Bad Baptiste, I don't know how far they distribute. I know they're really prominent in the Pacific Northwest. I've seen them in Colorado. I've seen them in Florida. So I know they're pretty far reaching. So the chances that you can get your hands on these are pretty good if you have like a specialty bottle shop near you that you can go to.
Yep.
And I myself will probably go to John's Marketplace and pick some up when I can find them.
Yep. Firestone also releases their 27 anniversary ale.
Yeah. Now this one's a little different because Big Bad Baptista is a whole range of beers that they're making. Where this one is a little different. This is one particular beer, but there's something special about this one. And what it is once a year, Firestone Walker, they'll get a bunch of wine brewers and blenders who are experts with blending. They'll bring them into the brewery and they bring them into their barrel-aged area, and they give them basically all their bourbon barrel-aged, all their barrel-aged stuff, and they set them in teams, and they say, blend all these beers together until you come up with the perfect tasting beer.
Yep.
Or the beer that everybody agrees on is the best.
Correct.
And so
27 is a blend of 5 of their bourbon barrel-aged beers.
Yeah. And they have, let's see, what is it? It's the double bourbon barrel-aged batch 2K, which is aged in wheated bourbon barrels. That's 33% of it. It's an Imperial Special Bitter. Then they got Dividing Time, which is aged in wheated and rye bourbon barrels, which is 29%. Bravo, aged in bourbon barrels, is 13%. Rip This Joint is aged in bourbon barrels, 13%. And then the Velvet Merkin, aged in bourbon barrels, is 12%, which is a milk stout.
I love that the average ABV of this is about 22%.
Yeah, I know, right? This is something I want to get my hands on as well.
Yes.
Just because of the blend looks really, really good. A lot of bourbon barrel stuff. And if a whole team of people said that this is like money, then I'm going to guess it's probably going to be money as well.
Yep. No, I've had a couple of different anniversary ales, and they are always...
Yeah. They're always good. They're always good.
Yes. Yep.
Well, I have to say, now that this is warmed up, I kind of like, I'm really digging the malt profile. I'm still not getting those esters, but the hop has kind of smoothed over a little bit. There are some citrus notes at the end that I wasn't picking up at first, but as it's warmed up, I'm definitely tasting it.
Yeah.
Pretty good, yeah. Not quite at the 4.0 level, but 3.75 definitely.
Michael asks, how long do they age in bourbon barrels? Typically, a bourbon barrel-aged beer will be in there between 9 and 12 months, unless otherwise stated. There's no real rule on how long it has to be in there. Yeah. There's no aging standards or specifications. But typically, if something says it is barrel-aged, it'll be either 9 or 12 months or somewhere in between.
Especially for the yearly releases, they have to have them aged for 9 to 12 months. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. There are some beers out there that say aged 18 months in rye barrels or something like that, but those are pretty unique.
Yeah, and they're usually more expensive too.
Oh God, yes. Yeah.
There was actually I was kind of I know I've talked about Benedictine brewing quite frequently. They're the monks who they're the only brewery in all of the United States where the monks actually brew the beer.
Yes.
So the last time I went there, they had a wine barrel aged stout. It was their Black Habit, which I asked them, it's like, well, how long was it aged? And they're like, well, it was aged for 6 years. And I'm like, but you've only been open for like maybe 4 or 5 years? And like, oh no, we started doing this one before we even opened the tap house. Nice. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I gotta have this. I gotta have this.
Yeah.
I'm like, and they're like, okay. And it was really good. I mean, honestly, it had a super complex flavor. It was wine barrels that they were aged in, not in bourbon, but wine barrels. And it had like this slightly tart, savory flavor to it that I've never really had in a stout before. And it was absolutely delicious. But those guys aged it for 6 years. So there's no real limit. You can. I've seen some like small barrels that you can buy that you can like pour your own beer in and age yourself if you want to. You can take oak staves that you can buy at craft brewery stores, char them yourselves, soak them in bourbon for a month.
Yep.
Throw them into beer.
Yep.
You can bourbon barrel age your own stuff if you want to.
A couple good questions here. Can you use the barrel more than once for beer aging purposes? Actually, most barrels have multiple lives that they go through. So, for those who don't know, I'll give a real brief history on barrels or current uses of barrels. To make a bourbon or a rye in the U.S., those types of spirits have to be aged in new American oak.
Yeah, they're
unused, charred American oak.
So they char the inside with a blowtorch. Yeah,
right. You make the barrel, you char it, and there are different variations of char and everything else. But the stipulation for an American bourbon or an American rye is it spends 3 years in new American oak. Then you can call it that. For a scotch, scotches have to be made in Scotland, and scotch has to be aged in a used oak barrel. So oftentimes what happens is America will age our whiskeys in barrels for 3 years. We will then sell our barrels to Scotland so they can age Scotch in used barrels.
Yep.
Those barrels will then come back and be used to age other things, either ports
Beer,
or
wine,
sherries
ports,
or
all kinds of things.
all kinds of things. Because there's no stipulation on wine if it has to be a new or a used or whatever, or what the source of the barrel is.
I've even seen bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so most new barrels go either to wine or they go to American whiskeys. Used barrels are often traded multiple times throughout both distillers, brewers, wineries, etc., to get the flavor profile that they're after for their final beverage. So yeah, it's really crazy. You can track like lifetimes and histories of individual barrels based on brewers that they were at, and oftentimes a barrel could have 6 or 7 or 8 different aging cycles on it before it's finally decommissioned. So.
Yeah, in fact, you can find some of these specialty ones. A lot of these bourbon barrel aged beers will say it came from X distillery, or we did this in conjunction with Buffalo Trace or Johnny Walker or whatever. They'll sometimes stipulate, but other times they'll be just like, no, it's just a bourbon barrel. We didn't say who.
Right. Yeah. Which often is they sourced a used barrel from IGP or some other bulk distiller.
Generic, Which is still fine. I mean, it tastes great.
Yeah. So yeah, no, barrel aging is a very interesting process, as is like it's one of the reasons I love this hobby is learning more and more about the intricacies of why different flavor profiles exist, different industries exist, different naming standards exist.
Oh yeah,
it's so much fun to know why these things are the way they are, and sometimes the answer is just because that's the way it's done.
Yeah, yeah. We just do it because that's the way we did it.
Yeah, there's stories from like old Irish stills. I think this came out of Jameson, where anytime they would christen a new still, a new copper still, they would look at the old still, and they would take a hammer and put dents in the exact same places of similar shapes to the old still.
Oh, because they want to make sure it's the same, yeah.
It actually makes a difference.
Oh yeah.
The heat transference and swirls and vortexes and whatnot of your distillate, it does make a difference. So anytime Jameson puts a new still in place, they look at the old still and
get some sledgehammers out, like, oh, you need some holes here.
This guy dropped a hay bale or something on a still back in 1722.
We got to do the same thing.
That dent still exists today, although it's like 7 generations of stills later.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty funny. Some of the intricacies and exactness of some of these processes.
Yeah.
And how up to chance it is sometimes as well.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's like all of a sudden I did this weird thing and this is delicious. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this tastes like crap. What did we do? You forgot to pee in it. Aye.
One of the McKenna brothers was supposed to take a squat out back on Tuesday. Now the whole batch is ruined.
Kind of do it now. They're expecting that piss taste.
Sorry, I love that. I cannot do it now.
I kind of do it.
Oh, good times. Anyway.
Yep. Anyway.
It is 5 past the hour, and I think that's a show.
It is.
And I would very much like to take off this headset because
I was just gonna say, I bet you're ready to take that headset off.
It is heavy.
Yeah, those ears.
God, this thing is heavy.
Where's the ears? I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. This I don't like this. I don't like closed back headphones anyway. I much prefer open back headphones. I've got some closed back ones, but they're much lighter weight than this. Yeah. Anyone who watches the show knows I wear primarily in-ear monitors doing the stream, and I cannot wait to go back. So this has been fun.
Yeah, it has been.
Anyway, this has been episode 307 here on Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Make sure to drop this video a like. Follow me on the social medias at Craft Computing. You can't follow him.
Yeah, a mystery.
I think today said follow Steve on Craigslist.
Yeah. I'm there all the time.
Yeah.
Try to buy my old tech.
Yeah.
That I try to sell.
If they had personal ads anymore, Steve would be under the W seeking W.
Win seeking win.
Win seeking win. Right. That's what I meant.
Winner seeking winners. Yeah, winner seeking winners.
Right.
Yeah.
You strike me more as a missed connections kind of guy.
I was creeping at Fry's the other day. Thought I saw you in the case mod section.
I have a friend who had a couple missed connections written about them.
Really?
Yes. I'm not going to explain any more than that. I have a friend who worked at a particular restaurant in town. Had a couple misconnections written about them.
Really?
Oh, they were as creepy as you can imagine.
Yeah. Misconnections. I remember that. I don't know. They don't have that anymore, do they?
No, they got rid of most of their personal section.
That seemed like the creepiest section out there. I mean, this is like stalker section.
Oh, gotcha.
Level of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
It was some of my favorite reads back in the day.
Oh,
Just go through there. And
I remember reading them on, like, Reddit and stuff like that people would post, like, look at this bizarre thing.
You, Safeway, 81st and Hawley, you walked by me in the bread aisle and farted, but were so embarrassed you just kept walking.
Call me.
Call me, yeah. Want to grab a drink later and see where this goes?
That smelled terrific.
Yeah.
The fresh bread had no comparison to your ass.
By the way, that's one that I actually remember.
Really? Was that a real one?
Yes. That was one that I actually read at one point.
That sounds like that section of Craigslist was made for people like that.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got here, but I'd like to get out of here.
Yes, let's go.
So, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Cheers. Is it creepier with the cat ears?
Probably yes.
Okay. You. I saw you at Safeway.
Did you like my cat ears?
Good night, everyone.
All right.